What's going on, y'all? Nick here, coming to you with another video. Check this out, y'all. Have you ever been in a conversation with somebody and you were trying to determine where the person stands, but no matter how you asked them questions, no matter what angle you came at, they never answered the damn question? Well, check this out because this is going to be an interesting one.
Senator Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thanks to all of our witnesses here today. Ms. Robinson, I want to follow up by trying to understand your answer to one of Senator Cruz's questions, and this is really a question, not a suggestion. Do I understand your position to be that there are two sexes, but there can be more than two genders?
I wouldn't even say two, and we've got Dr. Lopez here as well, but there's also the definition of intersex. I think that often in these conversations we're conflating sex and gender, and I do want to affirm here that trans women are women. That is their gender.
Okay, but I'm trying to understand.
All right, you guys, I'm only going to do this once because as you could probably see, she doesn't answer the question. All right, so again, I'm only going to do this once just to show you the mindset of these people. So apparently this woman is Kelley Robinson, and she's the 9th president of the Human Rights Campaign and the first black queer woman to lead the organization. So, I mean, just understand how people in the left, how they actually interpret questions and how they choose to actually answer. And that's why it's so frustrating to have a conversation with them. They never answer the damn question. But let's proceed.
Do you make a distinction between sex and gender?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Explain that. Just, do you think there are more than two sexes?
I believe that there's a definition for intersex as well that I want to acknowledge. But sex is
Okay,
assigned
so
at birth.
I'm just trying to understand. I'm thoroughly confused. So you're born, I'm talking about biology, male, female, and what else?
I believe that intersex is also acknowledged. But again, I'm not a doctor here. What I can
And
say
what does intersex mean?
is that there's a difference between sex and gender. And I think in these conversations, we're conflating the two.
Well, but I want to start with sex, okay? There's male, there's female. When a baby's born, before the baby has had time to even have a sense of self, there's male, female, and intersex.
There's only two.
Third sex?
I believe that is true, but I would defer to Dr. Lopez as I'm not a physician.
Okay. And how many genders are there?
I think the gender is expansive, and the definitions are always growing. Today I can tell you, I
More
talk to
than
young
five?
people
More
that
than-
talk about non-binary as
More than five?
I think the gender is not a binary, is what I'm trying
But
to say.
are there more than five genders? I'm just trying to understand. Are there more than five genders?
Well, I mean, I think that there was a time where women wearing pants didn't feel like it was appropriate for their gender, and yet I'm wearing pants today. I think
Woman, is there more than 5 genders? That's all the man is asking. I mean, where does pants come in the whole situation? You see, this is what happened. They don't want to answer the question because they know their angle in this discussion is nonsensical. I mean, biologically, there's only male and female, and here we are talking about intersex, and now we're talking about pans. I mean, is a pan sex? Is it gender? I mean, does it answer the question? Are there more than, and I'm assuming he said 5 because LGBTQ. That's my assumption of why he said 5, but I know what he's trying to get at. How much are there so that we have something concretely to tackle? I mean, because we can go on for eternity if there's a whole spectrum, but can we actually deal in the realm of concreteness? Even if there's 10, I'm gonna concede. Even if there was 10, let us know so that we know how to address them. But if we in the year 1990, there's only 2, and then in 2010, there's 5, and in 2030, there's going to be 50, I mean, can you see how confusing this would be? Can you see why they, which historically only referred to multiple people, now it refers to potentially one person? They? I mean, I don't get it, you guys.
I think
You
that there are
just
ways
answered
that
my
we
question.
express our
Are there
gender
more
that
than
are
5
expansive.
genders? Are there more than 5?
I wouldn't subject myself to naming how many genders there are, but what I can say is
there
that
an
gender is a
infinite
reflection.
number?
Excuse me?
There's an infinite number of genders?
I think depending on your culture, there are a lot of different genders that exist. And I can also say that it's a term that's evolving. If you look at young people today, they really don't lean into the binary of only woman and man. So I think that it's incumbent upon us not to legislate on this, but create space for them to explore what their identities are, what their gender identities are.
Let's get back to athletics. I think I understand what you're saying. There are 3 sexes, male, female, and intersex.
I believe that to be true, but again, I'm not a physician.
And
so
there are an infinite number of genders because gender is a mental state.
Gender is about expression, and I think that there are a variety of ways that you can express your gender.
Okay, so there's infinite number. All right, let's go back to the biology. Male,
Man, that's really confusing. So gender is about expression. So I could be born man, but if I express myself to be a woman, so my gender would be female. That wow, that's amazing. That's incredible.
female, boy, girl. Okay, biologically, do males have an advantage over females biologically in sports?
Absolutely.
Again, I'm not a physician, and I can't speak to that.
What's your real world experience?
It depends. I mean, there are some people who are born male that I'm faster than if I were to sprint against them, and some that I'm not. Some males
So
that are
you don't
taller than
believe
some
that-
women,
you
and
don't
some that are
believe
shorter.
that a biological male has a physical advantage in sports over a biological female?
Not as a definitive statement.
Give me an example. Well, no, I don't think. How many female members of the NBA do you see?
Well, I can say that, there's been this news article about men that think that they could beat Serena Williams in tennis, right? That they think that they could actually score a point on her. And it's just not the case. She is stronger
James,
than that.
What's your experience, Ben? Male, female.
Both Serena and Venus lost to the 203rd ranked male tennis player, which they're phenoms for women.
Man, do you know how disingenuous this is? Do you guys understand how disingenuous it is? It's like saying me, right? Who I've literally played tennis once. In my entire life, I literally only picked up a tennis racket once. And I challenge Serena Williams and I lose. And that's going to be is that going to be scientific data that women are equal to men? Because Nick, who played tennis once in my entire life, I try to play a woman who has years of experience and is in the top of her game. I lose. That's going to be the litmus test whether or not men and women are equal in sports. How about you take other men who also have tons of years of experience, like Nadal, Federer, right? You know what I'm saying? Let's take those guys who are in the top of the class in tennis and see if they won't break the frames off of Serena. Pump the brakes on them. They will, man, stop this noise. This is truly laughable. Why is this even and you know what's so sad? I promise I'm gonna continue on, guys. I hope you guys are enjoying it, because if you are, hit that like button. But you guys, think about this. Why are we in Congress talking about how many sex and genders there are? You see, now you can see why America is literally becoming a laughingstock to all the other nations out there, Because while people are dealing with real circumstances, like the economy, the housing market, real issues, real pressing issues, war. We here talking about how many genders there are. Have we not figured that out yet? Has not America figured that out yet? Wow, this is crazy.
Experience. My husband, he swam at University of Kentucky as well. In terms of accolades and in terms of national ranking, I was a much better swimmer than him. He could kick my butt any day of the week without trying.
Okay. I just think, Ms. Robinson, I'm trying to understand where you're coming from. I think you lose a lot of credibility when you don't concede that a biological male has physical advantages over a biological female.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I just think that's a proven fact, and you really hurt your credibility. I understand you want the world to be a better place. I do too, and I don't think people ought to be discriminated against because of an immutable characteristic. I don't. And I think that I think everybody ought to be free to be themselves. And what you do in your bedroom or what I do in my bedroom with a consenting adult is nobody's business.
Right.
But if what I do in my bedroom with a consenting adult, if I decide I want to tell somebody's child about it, then other people have rights too.
Thank
I
you.
think parents have rights. And I think biological females have rights.
Right.
To be able to compete fairly in sport in sports. So I really think you hurt your credibility when you refuse to acknowledge that biological males have an advantage over biological females. It kind of makes me wonder about all your testimony. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
What I'm trying to say is that there is not a definitive advantage in all cases. Sir, I don't know if you believe that you could beat Serena Williams in tennis, but I probably think that that's not the case. There are not all.
Yeah. Take the man who's probably like 60, 70 years old and ask him to play Serena Williams. And he probably doesn't have no experience playing tennis. Ask him to play Serena Williams. Because that's definitely fair. Do you see and this woman, she literally thinks she's making sense. In her little brain of hers, she actually thinks what she's saying is valid and that we should actually use that as an argument. Wow.
Cases where all men are physically superior to all women. And at the end of the day, in this conversation, we're not talking about that. We're talking about trans women who are, in fact, women, who deserve to play in a gender that matches their sports, who deserve all the benefits that Ms. Gaines is talking about. And as a cisgender black woman, I can say definitively that my womanhood is not threatened by a transgender person asserting hers as well.
All right, guys. So this girl, Kelley Robinson, again, she's quite the character, as you could probably see. But there's one more video I really want to show you because I think it's actually quite sad. And I also think that it's kind of scary. Because, I mean, John Kennedy, the questions that this man, that elderly man that we saw earlier, the questions that he was asking, I think they were very fair. I think they were fair, guys. I don't know about you guys, but let me know in the comments down below. Do you think what he was asking was nonsensical, or do you think her rationale or attempt to answer the questions, which she never answers, by the way, do you think that was actually ludicrous? But this is why it's so scary because, again, right, me, I love women. I love women, right? Truth be told, as a follower of Christ, I love all people, all nationalities, provided that you actually keep the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High, and you follow Jesus. I have no issues with anybody. But what I do have issues with is people who are trying to actually rewrite years of history, years of anecdotal evidence, just plain old facts and truths that we have come to study over time. And now we are living in like a circus world or this clown world where there are no more definitive yes or no's. There's no more definitive right or wrongs. I mean, everything is upside down. Everything is backwards. And I find it scary, especially for women, because, again, as a man who actually loves women, and I actually want to see women succeed, I really do. I know I may come up here at times and I may make jokes about feminism, but believe me, I understand there's a stark difference between women and feminism. All right, there's a huge difference. But women, biological women, are literally being attacked, you guys. And I don't know if you guys see it, but they are literally being attacked. If we live in a world where Caitlyn Jenner, a biological man, can win Woman of the Year, do you not think women are under attack? And they gaining you, women, through this feminism, because you actually think that they are for you. They are not for you. They are not for you. If you have a platform where women can actually compete one against another fairly, are we going to start to introduce men and use the rationale of Kelley Robinson? Are we going to use the rationale of Kelley Robinson to say that, oh, well, all men are not definitively better than women, so let them compete? You think that's going to start to be fair? Woo! Incredible. Incredible. And most of you guys probably don't even know what that means. Check this last video out, because I guarantee you this woman, Kelley Robinson, she's a character. And she actually outdoes herself. Check this one out.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Title IX was a landmark civil rights law. It helped create the incredible breadth of women's sports and girls' sports that we see across the country. I believe in girls' sports. I believe in women's sports. I'm the proud father of 2 daughters who are both athletes. I think participating in competitive sports is a wonderful thing for a young girl. I think it is a wonderful thing for a woman.
Agreed.
And I think, unfortunately, today's Democrat Party has decided that women's sports and girls' sports no longer matters. And they're willing to push radical legislation designed to destroy girls' sports and women's sports. Ms. Gaines, I want to thank you for your courage. You are relatively young, but you have demonstrated incredible courage. And because you have dared to speak up, you have been demonized, you have been vilified. I saw when you were attacked by a leftist mob at San Francisco State University for daring to speak up. You had an incredible record as a swimmer at the University of Kentucky. You were a 2-time NCAA All-American. You were a 5-time SEC champion. You're an SEC record holder and a 2-time Olympic trial qualifier. But yet on March 27th, 2022, something changed. What happened on March 17th, 2022?
That's when Thomas and I raced in the 200 freestyle and again resulted in a tie.
And so you tied. What was the consequence of tying?
We went behind the awards podium where typically you're handed your trophy, you're marched out, you're named an All-American. And so we go back there and the official looks at both Thomas and myself and says, "Great job, but you guys tied. And we only have 1 trophy, therefore we're giving this trophy to Leah." And I question this and I say, why? And at first I shortened it in my testimony, but really he stumbled on his words. He didn't know how to answer this. And at first he's, well, we're just doing this in chronological order. To which I further pressed, and I said, okay, well, what are you being chronological about? Because we tied. And if we're doing this off alphabetical order, G comes before T. So what are you being chronological about? To which this wasn't a script they had prepared for him. And he actually appreciated his honesty. He did say, we have to give the trophy for Leah because Leah has to have it for pictures. They've made that clear. Leah has to have the trophy for pictures. You can pose with this trophy, but you have to give yours back. You have to go home empty-handed. Leah Thomas takes the trophy home. End of story.
Now, I'm sure you guys understand, but let me just interject one thing real quick. He has to, Leah, whoever it is, I'm assuming transgender athlete was, they have to take the trophy, right? And you know why that is? Again, it's because they don't really care about women's sports. They don't actually care about the integrity of the sport any longer. It's all about the presentation, the money. You know, there's a bunch of lobbyists behind the scenes, and they lining up their pockets. But you better make one of our representatives, those who are part of the LGBTQ, you better make one of them hold that trophy so that we could take pictures and that our community could be exalted and lifted up. That's all it's about. The marketing. The marketing. So that everybody could fake clap and congrats. Wow, this is groundbreaking. A biological man actually beat women, even though it was a tie in this case, beat women in swimming. Wow. How? That's groundbreaking. As if we didn't have years of record holdings that showed that men could do this anyway. That men could do this any damn way. It's actually sad. And I'm going to end up with this. Because this woman who had been training for years, she's been actually trying to hone her art so that she can make it to the top. Now she can take a picture with it, but she can't bring it home because some weird old man came out of nowhere and stole her thunder. That's what we're doing to women's sports. Incredible.
Now, let me ask you, as someone who's competed at the elite level, in your experience, is there a difference between women and men?
Of course. I think we learned this at a very young age, watching even 12 and unders play. Going through puberty causes irreversible advantage that no matter the training, no matter the diet, no matter any alterable change you can make, will overcome that male advantage.
Right.
Especially in sports like swimming, where lung capacity matters so much. Even something as silly as throat size, men have on average a 40% larger throat, which sounds like it's nothing. But when you're grasping for air, that 40% larger throat makes a huge difference in athletic success, not to mention height. You guys know the differences.
Ms. Robinson, do you agree with Ms. Gaines that there's a difference between women and men?
If the question is about trans women,
I'm just asking, is there a difference between...
You see that? Do you see that? Here, the tactics again. I'm telling you, she's a professional moonwalker. She will moonwalk out of that question all day. She never answers the damn question. What's so hard? Wow.
between women and men?
I mean, what I can say here is that the NCAA has rules in place. They've had rules in place for the last decade, and when this competition
Okay, I'm
happened,
going to try again.
the rules were clear.
Do you believe there's a difference between women and men? It's a yes/no question. Do you believe there's a difference?
Oh, I think that we're talking about this case with the NCAA.
No, I'm asking a question. Do you believe there's a difference between women and men? Most people could answer this very simply. I'm curious if you're willing to do so.
Oh, absolutely. I'm just putting it into the context of the
Is that a yes?
conversation that we're having. I think that there are definitions related to sex.
Is
but
that
I
a
also
yes?
think
So I'm
that when
trying to
we're-
get a yes.
Wow. And you know, it's actually sad, but I actually don't blame this man. And this is why I started off the video saying that, you know, have you ever dealt with somebody when you were just trying to ask them questions and they refuse to answer? It actually starts to get you enraged because you're just trying to gain some type of clarity. It's a yes or no question. But now here you are with your smug face and, you know, she's a woman, but yet she bobbed off the hair on the sides. I mean, it's crazy. But anyway, here you are. You can't answer the questions. So he's starting to get frustrated because he's just like, damn it. You know, I bet this man is thinking right now, if I could just put my hands around her neck. Man, it's sad. It's sad. Just answer the question. And I think this is what makes it even worse. That she, as a woman, is willing to put her own other women and throw them under the bus just so that you could support the LGBTQ. Isn't that crazy? So there is no allegiance amongst women no more. Because now you have a bunch of these women who she's queer, and she's just like, hey, I'm not standing with other women. I'm here to stand with this movement. I wonder how much she's getting paid. I'm sure she's getting paid a nice stack too.
Yes or no? I'm not trying to get a speech.
Is
there a difference between women and men?
Hey, let me go back.
I think that there are definitions related to sex.
Is
but
that
I
a
also
yes?
think
So I'm
that
trying to
when
get a
we're-
yes or no. I'm not trying to get a speech.
I'm
Is there a difference between women and men?
I think that there are definitions for biological sex.
Okay, so you're
which
not
is
answering
different
that.
than
Let me ask
gender.
you this question then. Why do women's sports exist? If you can't define a difference between women and men, why not abolish women's sports and just tell little girls to swim with little boys and see who wins?
Oh, I'm simply saying that that sex
My
is different
question,
than gender.
why
and I do
do-
believe
why
that
do
women's
women's
sports have
sports
a great
exist?
value. I mean, Senator, I'll tell you right
Ms.
now.
Robinson, please answer the question I'm asking you.
Absolutely.
Why do women's sports exist?
I think that there are so many positive benefits to sports.
But
I mean,
why have a
we've talked
separate
about it here
category for
today.
women? If there's no difference between women and men, why to have women's sports?
I'm saying that there's a difference between sex and gender, and that the NCAA has rules in place, which they have for the
So,
last decade.
Mr.
which
Chairman, I
determine
would
that
like to enter into
related
the
to
record an
participation.
article from Duke Law called Comparing Athletic Performances for the Best Elite Women to Boys and Men. And it goes through examining in 2017 the top records for women in the world in various track and field events. So, for example, in the 100 meter, the top record for women in the world was 10.71 seconds. Now, that record for the number one woman in the world in 2017
Number
was
one, yeah.
in the year 2017 broken by 124 boys under 18.
Under 8, so they still in high school?
In that same year, the record for the number one competing woman in the 100-meter dash in the world was broken by a total of 2,474 men.
What? So high school boys in high school. I mean, he said 18 and younger, so we don't even know. That might include junior high as well. Boys in high school and junior high, elementary, in diapers. But you get the point. Are just demolishing women in track and field running, right? I think he said 100 meters. And then over 2,000 men. 2,000 men don't even qualify for the Olympics. So that means that 2,000 men, that includes, by men's standards, that includes even the scrubs, the dudes who probably might not even make it that far. They're just regular old Joe Schmo. 2,000 men.
If the radical Democrat agenda to destroy girls' sports and women's sports succeeds, little girls will not have a chance to compete. So I ask unanimous consent that this article be entered into the record.
All right, you guys, check this out. I really would like a very intelligent conversation surrounding this. Please, very intelligent. You guys, again, if you disagree, please put it in the comment. Be civil. No need to resort to disparaging comments. No need to be all butthurt and in your feelings. I mean, let's be adults and have an intelligent conversation surrounding this. But do y'all really not see that there's a huge problem? Are we really going to eradicate women's sports all because of equality, diversity, inclusion, equity, whatever word you want to throw in there? Are we going to demolish women's sports? Do women not have rights no more? Do women not matter anymore? Can men be better at being women than women themselves? Is that the world that we are heading into? And you guys do not see that this is clearly satanic? You guys do not see that this is clearly against the will of the Most High? Please put it down in the comments. I would really like to know. Yeah, I think y'all know where I stand, but again, whether you agree or disagree, put it down in the comments, you guys. And please share this. Maybe, who knows, maybe someone could hear this message, but men and women are not the same, you guys. And that's not a disparaging thing to say. That's just a reality. Shoot, men are good at what men do, and women are good at what women do. And I think both parties just need to stay in their damn lane. It's that simple. It's that simple. You get what I'm saying? It's really not that hard. Everybody needs to just stay in their damn lane. Anyway, with that being said, you guys, Nick over and out. The message sent. Jesus is king, y'all.